Hello, Carrots here. Welcome to part 27 of the 30 Grandchildren Badge Attempt. Here we are in the Great Southern Land. This is a player-made world by Frog Princess Q, and it is based on Australia. So far, nobody from Cake Island has even thought about visiting, but I have it on very good authority that Frank and Felicia have got their heads together because they've realised that they need to go on vacation and they're trying to work out where to go. They're doing a little bit of research, and we might go and help them by visiting this world just before they arrive. There's a lot of others arriving right now through that portal, as you can see. This is base camp where the tourists will stay. Now here are two likely looking lads. They've just turned up and they're checking out the adventure board, but they've decided, I think, that they don't want to stay at the base camp. They're going to find a house and move into it and become townies in this world. They've just arrived. They're Dave and Daryl. We'll put them in one of these houses that are in town, and here they are. There's the university mascot has turned up, and Dave and Daryl are in the shadow, and that just in front of the construction site across the street. There aren't very many townies living here at the moment, but the population is increasing rapidly. They're going to go out and see what they can find. They're some of the earliest Sims to arrive here, and it looks like Daryl's hungry. Dave probably is too. Now, I happen to know that there's a festival ground not very far from here, and they're going to jump in their taxi and head over there now and see if they can get something to eat at one of the food stands. Daryl orders a plate of French fries, while Dave goes for hamburger. Then they sit and eat it together. Now, you may be wondering why I'm showing you this pair. Well, they are a pair of Sims that I made in Create a Sim to be future spouses of two of Felicia's younger sisters, and I thought we will give them a bit of a backstory rather than they just turn up in the main household in Cake Island without us ever having known anything about them before. So they will be joining the main household in the next episode, probably. Depends how long it takes Felicia and Frank to make up their minds about each other. Daryl and Dave are going to be learning lots of skills in the meantime before they meet up with Felicia and Frank. I'm hoping it will also help me get over the problem of the time it's taking to train the future spouses of the various household members and in that household, and what to do with everybody else while they are learning their skills and reading their books. I know I could just give them their skills using a mod, and I do that sometimes, but they still need to read their books, and that takes ages. So hopefully we can get around some of those issues with this pair. I will be playing them a lot. You won't see everything I do with them in the videos because I really do want them to get well trained before I send them to the house that they're going to meet their future spouses. And the light in this world, as you might notice, it's very harsh. There's very strong shadows. That is how it really is in Australia. So when you're taking photos, you've got to notice what time of the day it is, and you really don't try it anywhere between about 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. if you're outside like this, or you're going to get lots of shadows, and unless you use a fill-in flash, which is only other way you can get nice photos outdoors in the summer in particular. So there's nothing I can do about the light unless other than make it not authentically Australian. They skated for quite a while, and they gained some skating skill, but they need to learn a lot more than just how to skate, and there's plenty of time for them to learn skating when they moved to Cake Island. It's not one of their core skills that I need them to learn. So after they got a bit of experience on the skating rink, I sent them to the library because I figured the library is the place where they can read skill books and learn skills the fastest. I had already sent them off to take a cooking class and a charisma class and a couple of other classes each, so they did have a bit of skill to start with, but they're going to spend quite a lot of time in the library. We won't just watch them as they read library books, but that's where they're going to be for many hours. Fishing skill. Well, you can't learn fishing by reading a book. You can learn a bit about it by watching TV, but there's a nice big water hole right in the middle of this world, and they went there to fish. We need them to get to level 7 in the fishing skill. That way they can read all of the fishing bait books. So we'll just have them stay here and fish until they've got to level 7. It's it's just them learning some skills. It's like being at university, I suppose. You cram all your lessons into one semester, and they're learning their skills here. They started out in Aurora Skies and they travelled here, and now this is their home world. I used them to test to see if Sims could arrive at this world, and then to make sure it is their home world, I deleted their travel database, so they don't remember anything about Aurora Skies. But we won't watch them fish till they get to level 7. Some time ago I made a dome. It was like a butterfly house, but it's got all sorts of other things inside for Sims to do, and I've made an entrance where they go down some steps and across a basement and then up into the dome. And in the basement I've got a little kitchen and some arcade machines and other little things for them to do. So there is the dome, and I'm going to send those two fellows along to have some fun. Something about this world that's not authentically Australian is the subways. There are some subways in the major cities, but there wouldn't be a subway in a country area like this. Although we do have trains, and the Sims don't have trains, do they? So I suppose the subways are standing in for trains. There can be an hour or so's drive between towns, but in some parts of the country, it's more like 5 or 6 hours drive at 100 kilometres an hour between towns. And in some places, those towns consist of a roadhouse where you can stop and buy fuel, have something to eat, and maybe have a campground or a motel where you can spend the night. And there's probably a few rural houses that are placed well out of sight. So it's a lot of long distances and very scattered population everywhere except along the east coast, basically, and in the southwest corner of Western Australia. There's a lot of people there as well. So the subways really wouldn't work, and especially when those towns are quite small. So now they've arrived at the dome, let's see what they get up to. You can see the butterflies fluttering around inside. There are extra things outside the dome as well, so they don't actually have to go inside to have some fun. No, that's Dave. Dave went down. Oh, they've both gone down. They're in a group. They found an arcade machine. Of all the wonderful things they could have been doing, they've gone to play an arcade machine. The basement's fairly basic, there's not much in it. There's a claw machine and a few arcade machines and some fridges and a pizza oven, and I think there's a grill down here as well, the teppanyaki grill. I think they've had enough game playing for now, and let's go up the top and see what's to be seen up here. There's all sorts of wonderful things. And Daryl just wants to play with his phone. What's Dave doing? He's chatting with the university mascot, who happens to be a very attractive female. Both of these chaps want to get married and have babies. That's their traits. I made them like that so that they would get married and have babies when I wanted them to. So there is going to be a bit of an issue until I get them into the house where they're going to meet their future spouses, with trying to keep them away from all of the other attractive Sims, because I think they find most of the Sims in the town very attractive, especially if they're likely to be able to have babies with them. They both have the family-oriented trait, and surrounded by family is their lifetime wish. Okay, I think we've seen enough of here. For now, we'll come back here later on and have some fun. Since their visit to the dome, I've added a heap of new townies to the world, and several of them have joined the ghost hunter career, and this one is hunting ghosts at the house next door. Problem is, there's a heap of spirits haunting this place, and this ghost hunter just catches one and walks off and leaves the rest, so my Sims are stuck with the ghost hunter music. Daryl didn't stay home for long though. He went out and was playing guitar at one of the night spots that came with the world. I found that this is in an area that is surrounded by a variety of places they can go to eat or go and have some fun. So there's going to be lots to do for any couple who decide to come on vacation to this world to see if they want to spend the rest of their lives together. I think all of these Sims are ones that I have just added as townies from my library. Some of them are from 2009 and some are much more recently made Sims. Some are Sims that I've played over and over again, and some are Sims I'd almost forgotten I had and have only played once or twice. Mostly they're brand new versions of old well-used Sims. Others have got lots of experience and assets. This little diner place is all set up for social distancing. It's just next to where Daryl's playing his guitar, and that's Dave. Not many of the Sims that I've added from my library have got any custom content on them at all because they're all really old, but a few of them that I made more recently will have custom skins. So there's a diner, and that one red building next door, that's where they're all sitting with their socially distanced tables. And on the other side of that red building is the place where Daryl was playing his guitar. So this is some of what Sims get up to in Great Southern Land. But then I got busy and I added a heap of other venues. There's a townie playing down underneath the dome. Let you have a bit of a look at the kitchen and the claw machine over there in the distance. The other things that are inside the dome basement. So Dave's made it home and Daryl won't be far behind. This is where they live. It's going to be redecorated somewhat during the next few minutes of this video. They're going to spend a lot of time inside the house reading their books. We'll see a little bit of that, but not very much. They will also satisfy some wishes if they're relevant to skill building. And Dave's going to upgrade the sink because he has a wish to upgrade something. Much later, I've rearranged the house. Dave and Daryl have visited China and Egypt and France and bought all of the books that they needed from those 3 World Adventure Worlds. They need to read those books. And they've got an extra household member. Stan has joined them. He's going to be our spouse for one of the younger Sims in the main household. And I've also deleted all of the audio from the game because the Ghost Hunter music is so loud from next door, and I'm not sure if it's copyrighted or not, and I don't want to have this video get into trouble because of me playing music I'm not allowed to play. They need to learn gardening, so I've given them a little garden downstairs in their basement. It's not going to get much bigger than what it is now. There's going to be a few more things planted, but not much. For the rest of the time we're in Great Southern Land, I have turned off ambient sounds from the game because I do not want to risk picking up any background music and not noticing it. There's too many times it happens to be copyrighted. Somewhat later, and now we have 4 Sims in the house. We've got Derek, Daryl, Stan and Clarice, and they are potential spouses for Dolores, Demetria, Sharonda and Kobe. They spend the next few Sim days, or maybe even Sim weeks, reading books. Some of them have now read all of the cooking books, all of the recipe books, got to level 10 in cooking, and all of the fishing books because they've got to level 7 in fishing, and they're pretty well educated. The 2 new ones though, they haven't got to that extent yet. They're still going to need to do some more reading before they're ready to move to Cake Island. But they've all gone stir crazy, so I sent them to the dome to try to get a bit of fun so they could go back and keep reading without a huge negative moodlet for being stir crazy. It's night time here and somebody's riding on the Ferris wheel. There's lots of butterflies and moths out. They're probably all moths actually, it's night time. So they've had their little outing and now they're all back to work reading many, many books. There's all 4 of them in the house now and they're just going to read. I've got lots of books to read. I've been thinking about how I'm going to handle this going forward because at this point this world is not in the main save, but I will be transferring it across by copying the NHD files into the main save. But once the first 2 have gone back to Cake Island, it's not going to be so easy to come back here and continue training the others. But I'm thinking maybe I can send any new imaginary friends here and they can all learn their skills together, because multiple Sims together learn just as fast as a single Sim on its own. So I just have to get them out of the main house because the others are just not doing anything. They're just hanging around waiting for the new Sims to get their skills. And this way I won't have to show you them studying all of the time. I can just have them here and get them to read and learn their skills, and then somehow or other they'll go back to the main house. That's just what I'm thinking at the moment anyway. And I've got to split this household up and get them introduced to their future spouses sooner rather than later, because there's a certain amount of flirting going on between them. We can't have them wanting to get married to each other. She keeps wanting to watch the stars with various members of the household as well. At this point we're all stir crazy again, so I needed to have a better look at the dome, so I sent them back to the dome again. Now that is Dave there in the orange red shirt. Just watch his expressions. He is really funny. He keeps getting the giggles. I didn't realise he would do that. And of course his opponent is our old friend Daryl. Now we can all go inside and line up to get a ride on the Ferris wheel. Here comes Dave. He's last. He must have been laughing too hard. You see that as plants with the big round purple flowers? Well, I think the person that made them must have based them on gnomes, because the Sims kick them and they fall over. And that one there is lying on the ground. Obviously somebody's kicked it. I'll have to come and stand them up later. So there's the Ferris wheel and they're all on it. All 4 of them. Having a ride. That's also custom content. They're getting off. It slows down and lets them off one at a time. Yeah, they go. And it stops at every little carriage, whether there's a sim in it or not. So now everybody is off. And they had a lovely ride on the Ferris wheel. It's time now to do some serious exploring around the dome before they all go back home to continue reading. And they start painting as well. See, that tree has fallen over? So I think it was Clarice who kicked it. I know she had a wish to kick one of those trees. And now I see one is lying on its side, so that must have been her who did it. There's a school cheer going on over there. We might even get a chess game going shortly. It'd be good to bring toddlers here. When I originally made this, I made it for a household with 2 toddlers in it. And it was really just meant for them. But then when I had this world and I discovered there wasn't a lot in it, I just thought I just need to move that dome across here. It was a bit difficult to place because it started out on a hillside in Riverview, and here it is here now on a totally flat world. But I finally got it to work. There's lots of moths. I've got insects here obviously from all of the worlds, including the 3 world adventure worlds, so they could catch anything. I think those moths are crypt moths from Egypt. They keep trying to walk through the dome to get outside or get inside from outside, and they can't just walk straight through, so they get a bit upset, stamp their feet and wave their hands in the air. That's another butterfly from World Adventures, I think. All of these future spouses from Sims in the main Holden household seem to be getting along really well together. They don't know what they're in for yet. They'll find out when they meet the Holden household. Oh look, there's some zebra butterflies. They came from the base game. Those pigeons, they are statues, and I think they were made by Luna. Oh, that's the Fountain of Youth. It came with the world Hidden Springs. And she just got a day younger. And that colourful lollipop tree in the background there, that's from the Katy Perry Sweet Treats stuff pack. I think you've seen enough around inside of the dome at the moment. I'll start getting ready to send them back home. They might do a few more things before they actually leave. Be back in the dome again and other episodes, because we're going to be bringing Sims here a few times, I think, since I've spent so much time setting this world up for vacations by other Sims. I have added lots of different venues, and this is only one of many. So be prepared for some fun and games in future episodes. But I think we've seen enough inside the garden of the dome for this episode. So here we go. Game of chess. This should develop some of their logic skill. I didn't give them a chemistry table back at home, so they can't learn logic by making potions. And none of them have got an imaginary friend, so they don't need to find the imaginary friend potion. Clarice is going to come and work on that claw machine, see if she can win any prizes. I'd like her to get a Gnome of the Darned, but they're not easy to find. There's a money bag, and she dropped it. They don't necessarily get a prize every time. And I think she misses out more times than she wins something with this attempt. Teddy bear would be handy if she's going to have lots of babies. Maybe she'll get lucky and get some toys. I'm letting them keep the stuff they collect and find and make, so that when they get settled into their own house with their future spouse, we'll decorate their home with what they get. I've got the game sound turned on now. Of course, ambient sounds is turned off. We can't pick up any of the music from any of these machines, because I know some of that is copyrighted. And I always turn the game sound down to make it barely audible, just so that it's just going to pop into your consciousness occasionally, and I can't actually hear any of it myself at the moment. Please let me know in the comments if you've got a preference for me adding soft background music, or do you prefer it like I've done this video without any extra background music added. YouTube has a library I can get music from, and that is free for me to use without worrying about copyright. Oh look, there's a pink rabbit. Is she going to get it? Looks like she's got the pink rabbit. She did get a few toys. Her future children will benefit from her good luck. And she got a couple of money bags too, I think. She wants another go. Oh, a gem. And she didn't drop it either. She got it. Wow. She's going to have a good lot of stuff to take to her new home when she finally gets married and starts having babies. But I think we've had enough of the claw machine for now. On their way home, Derek and Dave decided to have another go at the hoops challenge. And this is where Dave really gets the giggles. So I thought I'd better show you. They both seem to be finding it pretty funny. I don't know who ended up winning the competition, but I sent them home as soon as they'd had enough. I think it looks like Derek might have won. Dave seemed to have missed a lot of his baskets. This was a bit of extra unexpected fun. Clarice met up with one of the local townies, a teen, and they had a bit of fun with the basket. And the main reason I'm showing you this is that teen is a son of Patience. In the game that I pulled him out of, Patience was living in Riverview and she'd married one of the townies. Forgotten his first name, last name was Hackett. My family have all gone home now, but somebody's obviously still playing on that Ferris wheel. You see all those houses in the background? They're full of Sims. I've added Sims, 2 or more Sims to every one of those houses. And I suspect somebody might have moved into the Somerset, which is just on the right there. Just giving you a bit of a peek around the world at night. I added a few store venues, the Alfresco Market, the Renaissance Fair, the casino. That's a house with the hearts living in it. There's something wrong with that house because that household is constantly becoming unrootable. And this is another one of my builds. It's my Magic Gnome's Magical Treasure Park. I've used some of the World Adventures trap things in here, and the Sims can actually find a magic gnome. And there's a magic mirror thing that they can go through. There's lots of things to do in this one, and I'm looking forward to bringing a sim here. There's a roller coaster and a tractor ride, places where they can go dancing and eating, a balloon to go for a balloon ride. That tent there has got all the magic things in it so they can go and get their fortunes told. That other tent on the left that you're coming into view now, that's got a Showtime stage in it. And I had lots of fun when I first built it, but with an acrobat sim who was performing in there on the Showtime stage. Don't have an acrobat sim yet. Might have to try to get one because she did some amazing tricks. If I can find her, I might even add it to the household for a while just so we can see her perform. Because I think she's a level 10 acrobat. Took me ages to get her to that point. But there's an awful lot to do in this 64 by 64 lot. It's got a carousel in there as well. And when we've finished looking at this venue, we will find ourselves back in Cake Island, where Frank and Felicia are about to leave home to come here for a visit. And I don't know, I might even bring them to this venue, but it'll be in the next episode. Back at home in Cake Island, Frank has been convinced that it's time for him to take Felicia on vacation so they can get to know each other. It's pretty hopeless for them in this huge household to get to know each other. There's just so many distractions for both of them. So they're heading off. They've had a discussion and they've decided they'd like to explore the Great Southern Land. And so that is where they're going. I wonder if they will come across any Sims that we know while they're there. It was very early in the morning when they set out, and Demetria was being abducted by aliens as they ran out the door. There was nothing they could do about it though, because they had to catch their own flights or they'd miss out on their vacation, so they just hoped they should be brought back home safely while they were away. They'd arranged to stay at the base camp, and that's where they were taken as soon as they arrived in the new world, the Great Southern Land. Their flight was uneventful, but they were hungry, so Frank got himself something to eat, while Felicia went and checked the computer to see just what there was around town for them to look at. One interesting thing that happened while they were flying is the seasons changed. When they left home, it was just coming into summer, and here it was autumn. Oh look, there's a nice interesting place they might like to visit that's close by. But I think first of all, since they've discovered that it's autumn, there's a fall festival in town, and they don't get an autumn where they come from, so they've decided they want to go and investigate the haunted house. They used to have fall festivals, but they've been cancelled in Cake Island for quite a while now. They found the haunted house so much fun that they just got into the habit of cycling through it over and over and over again until they finally decided that they really had more to do in this world and didn't have many days for their vacation, so they'd better go and see what else they could see. And they remembered that interesting venue they'd seen from where they were staying in the base camp. So they ran off to explore the al fresco market. Felicia just sat down and started reading on her tablet. She had absolutely no interest in food or drink. However, Frank decided to get himself a hot drink, and as soon as it was delivered to him, he decided not to drink it. No idea why. He just shoved it in his pocket by the look of it, but it just completely vanished. Fortunately, when he ordered food, he did actually sit and eat that. He seems to be eating quite a lot since he's got here. I haven't seen Felicia eat anything since they've arrived, but this is the second time I've seen Frank eating something. Maybe he's going to try to build up his muscles a bit or something. Oh look, there's Walter Thompson. I didn't realise I'd put him in this world as a townie. I've introduced him to you previously in one of the worlds that are in the McFluff story. There goes Felicia. She's taking the laptop outside. This world was unpopulated, so all of the Sims you see are Sims I've added, unless they are tourists that the game has just generated from somewhere randomly. There's lots of exploring still to be done. Okay, Felicia's got the laptop out again. She seems to be addicted to that laptop. I didn't even realise she had it in her inventory, because back at home in Cake Island she's usually breaking space rocks or reading books. I don't see her with the laptop, but she's obviously suffering greatly from computer withdrawal. Eventually it was time to move on, because the purpose of this trip is for Felicia and Frank to get to know each other and decide to get married. But there is an equally important role for this pair, and that is they must meet up with Dave and Daryl and make friends with them so they can take them home with them to meet up with Dolores and Demetria. So they decided to go to the casino. This was a very exciting thing for them to do. There is a little sort of a casino back at home in Cake Island, but nothing like the glamour of this one. All they've got in Cake Island is a club with a few slot machines in it. But here we've got a real casino. You never know who you might bump into here. That's the games room. It's got all sorts of slot machines, and there's poker tables, blackjack tables and roulette tables as well. Lots of bars and places for them to eat, so there's plenty of opportunity for socialising and meeting townies in this place. Let's see how they go. Frank had headed for the poker machines, but Felicia, she went in the opposite direction. She went away from all the gambling excitement. She had her trusty laptop. All she needed was a table and chairs where she could sit and play computer games. But it looks like some of the brand new future spouses of her younger siblings have made an appearance at the casino, and I think that Felicia is about to make first contact. Karen was standing there, and Felicia got up and introduced herself. Karen's turned up in one of her everyday outfits, the one that is least appropriate for visiting the casino. She's got a dress as well, but she's chosen not to wear that. Karen is going to be the last one to get married. She is for Kendall, who has only recently aged up from teen to young adult. So she will be the final of the 15 to marry. So once we've had Karen and Kendall's wedding, then the race will be on to see how fast we can get the 30 grandchildren. Down at the casino end, We've got Stan sitting there playing poker. He's for Sharonda. He won't be going back to Cake Island just yet. But Frank has tracked down Daryl. Daryl is definitely going to be going back to Cake Island this time. Oh, he just had a big win as well. That'll make him happy. So, in fact, that's why Frank is staying there waiting. He wants to introduce himself to Daryl. He's recognised that this is one of his targets. And now they know each other. They've got to make friends. Frank and Felicia will be staying in the Great Southern Land for as long as it takes to befriend both Daryl and Dave. I'm not sure who that blonde is. I just can't remember her name. Once upon a time, before I finally gave up on playing families, she, I think, was one of the mothers I made to play in a game that I abandoned very early on due to the family tree breaking. And that teen, that is one of Patience's sons. I think it's Charlie Hackett. We've got Patience in this world as well as a townie, but she's a young version of Patience. So now Felicia has joined Stan at the poker table. I think that they managed to get these poker faces right down. It just shows the anxiety as they wait for the cards to get drawn. Well, she's having a lucky night. That's her second big win. So Felicia and Frank have so far become acquainted with Karen, Stan and Daryl. They really need to find Dave as well, and then they can focus on befriending Daryl and Dave. But it won't hurt for them to get to know Karen and Stan or any of the others as well. They're focusing on their poker games. Here comes Karen. I noticed Daryl went over to the bar and made himself a drink a while ago. That's why he has vanished from his machine. Felicia's happy with that one. She must be winning. Oh, she is. Look at that. She just grabbed some extra chips. And the dealer's dealt again. So Frank's going to join the game. This is the poker table. There's also a blackjack table and roulette table. Actually, there's multiples of each type of table. We've got 3 tables. Only one of them, I think it was the blackjack that came with the casino. The other 2 were bought extra, an extra store release later on in a different set. This video's gone over for a couple of minutes. I hope you don't mind. Oh, look, she just won something in the background there. It's just that we got to the casino and finally started to make contact with some of the other future spouses that they need to befriend. So we'll finish it here, leave them working in the casino. Oh look, there's Karen. She's just going to stand behind and watch. So that's it for now. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed and don't want to miss the next episode, well, then it'd be a good idea, perhaps, if you click that button to subscribe and the bell to make sure you get notified. So thank you for watching, and bye bye for now, and happy simming.